Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Pownell regular select board meeting, September 22nd, 2022 at 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board members roll call.
Angie Rawling.
Brian Harris.
Bob Jarvis.
Mike Gardner. Approval of the agenda. And I have a couple of things to add to the agenda. I'd like to add an executive for contractual after the emergency radio, please. And I'd like to add a town clerk information after the approval of the agenda. So that would be 3A, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
Did you say something about changing the sequence?
No, I'm gonna add a town clerk information at 3A, right before our first public comment. And then we'll go public comment, approval of the minutes, correspondence, presentation by Joyce Held, ARPA hazard pay, new town hall budget, emergency radio, the executive for contractual, public comment and adjourn. That'll be the.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go through the whole thing. It was just
That's okay. No, I should anyway, Bob, before we approve it. So, that's fine.
Right.
So I have a motion on the floor in a second. All those in favor, Angie?
Aye.
Brian?
Aye.
Bob?
Aye.
Mike? Aye. Thank you. So, we have a couple of guests tonight. We have Marlene Hall and Anita Sheldon. Marlene is the Shaftesbury Town Clerk, and Anita is from Manchester. And at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Tara and the other two town clerks, our guests.
So you want me to take the show, I guess, right? All right, so it's a really special day. This is probably the best thing I've gotten to do as part of my job so far because she is very well deserving. I don't know if everybody knows that Julie has gone through her town clerk certification, and she has in fact received her certificate. I get to be lucky when I do it. Congratulations, this is super exciting.
Thank you.
And she is the first Town of Pownell certified town clerk.
Good girl. Yay.
Congratulations, Julie.
Good job, Julie.
Congratulations.
Absolutely.
So when I came down to Julie's house on a Friday night to help her put all of her certifications together, I was a bit overwhelmed. We are required to have some classes that we have to take that are mandated, and then we have about 60 hours that we need to complete overall. And Julie was so gracious to hand me a stack of stuff, and she's like, I know I have enough credit here. Going through it, and Tara was there, and I'm like, okay, oh, great, wow, Julie. And as I sat there for about an hour and a half, I'm like, sweetheart, you definitely have enough credits. You have about 270 hours of credits. I will help you sort everything out, but we're going to stop at 70 because I'm also on the board, and I'm pretty sure everybody is not going to be interested in reviewing 270 hours. So after everything that Julie has done through PERS, I just wanted to say that not only do we respect you as an individual and somebody who loves their town, but I truly appreciate everything that you do and the willingness to give back to our association. Congratulations. You're very welcome. I'm a hugger, sorry. Congratulations. Well deserved.
And if I could add, that the three of us went through NEMC together, which is a 3-year program for clerks. You go to a college 1 week a year. It's very intense. We were on the 5-year plan because of COVID, but it is a 3-year program. And Julie went this year, and this girl did so well with her new legs. And she was the star of the show. You really were. She walked to get her diploma, and it was amazing. And she is amazing. And I'm very glad that I got to go through NEMC with her, get to know her better, because she's an amazing person. And I love her too.
And thank you guys for
Yes,
letting us
thank
come and.
Yeah, for
try us
sure.
with that, sir.
This was just presented at the clerk's conference a couple of days ago. So we've only had it, we grabbed it so we could come down and give it to her in person. She would have, if
That's why
she
you
had
guys kept
been.
asking if I was going.
I got a phone call last night at whatever time after our public hearing, when I got in my truck, I had just missed the phone call from Marlene, and so we kind of threw it together rather quickly.
And then she figured it out even quicker.
I was like, you're texting, no. I wouldn't have known if she didn't text me this morning. I'm like, you took too long to answer. Something's wrong.
There you go. Thank you both for coming down. and-
Thank you very
and
much
being
for
part of
putting
it.
us on the agenda, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for coming down.
Time to stop for it out there.
And thank you, Tara, for
Yeah.
helping out.
All right, I'll be.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Julie.
At this time, I'd like to open up for, public comment. Any public comment, Hannah?
Put it with their hand raised,
Perfect. Approval of minutes of September 8th, 2022, select board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion, corrections, deletions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Warrants, payroll, September 16th, 2022, in the amount of $10,396.64.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Payroll, September 23rd, 2022, in the amount of $12,366.70.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Accounts payable, September 16th, $24,289.65.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Accounts payable, September 23rd, $45,829.70.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Sorry, I thought I was gonna sneeze.
Okay.
I thought I was gonna sneeze for a minute.
I'm like, why is he hesitating?
Correspondence. We have a letter from Joel. I don't know if it got printed out.
I don't think it did. I didn't see
I
it.
didn't see it here, so,
I read it though.
Yeah, I read it.
let me,
This is update.
yep, I'm gonna read a letter from our road foreman, that Joel sent to us. Bear with me because it's really tiny print and it kind of tough for me. Dated today. We picked up our trailer Monday from Tri-State Truck and Trailer. Everything went well, no surprises. The price was just as quoted and a good quality trailer. We've already used it to bring the John Deere backhoe to the shop for transmission work. With the dry summer, we were able to put up our own sand and have the warehouse and the shop shed full with a pile stored if we run short, approximately 3,500 yards. That will save us a substantial amount at today's prices. We're doing fall grading on our dirt roads, some ditching, which never ends, getting equipment ready for winter and looking for next year's projects. The riprap is done on the Main Street Bridge around the Western Pier and just finished our project on Mason Hill South. Our buildings and grounds position is working really well for us, as well as working for the transfer station. Give them a hand when they need it, besides just town office work. Any questions, feel free to give them a call. I will strengthen that a little bit about our, buildings and grounds person. I've seen him doing a lot of stuff. I've seen him doing a lot of different jobs, not just here at the town office. I've seen him, all over town. So, and obviously it seems to be working out, for us.
We have one more correspondence. I heard you went there and I was like, oh, run back in there.
Okay.
We had a letter from Jennifer Boucher from Parks and Rec.
Okay.
Parks and Rec is seeking permission to apply for the Partnership for Success grant from the Collaborative, which is a local organization dedicated to supporting substance-free youth. Parks and Rec just learned about the grant and the application deadline is Friday, the 30th. The organization communicated that Pownell's work at Center Street Park with the skateboard park and other activities is a good fit for this grant because it expands community assets for youth, which is an integral to substance abuse prevention. Parks and Rec would like to apply for funds to enhance Center Street Park with the things like bicycle rack, additional skateboard features, and possibly resurfacing. There is a stipulation for 1 year that grant recipients share a monthly message from the collaborative via social media or website. These messages focus on substance abuse prevention and could include things like smoking cessation support or safe prescription disposal. Any messaging would be subject to select board or designee approval. I would ask that the select board approve Parks and Rec's request to apply for the Partnership for Success grant. Regards, Jennifer Boucher, Chair, Parks and Rec.
I would like to make a motion.
I think it's a great program. It sounds like it's what every
Community needs.
should be going for sure.
Definitely.
I'll second the motion. If nobody did.
No, we had a motion, we have a second. Any more discussion on this?
No, I think it's great.
All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. The only question I have, not that it really matters, obviously, is there an amount there to, or just?
No.
Okay.
No.
I didn't hear you read that.
They want to apply for it.
Yep, okay.
Parks and Rec talked about it, they have $35,000 that they want to award into 5 mini grants.
Okay.
Okay, nice.
Oh, wait, I guess one question, now that we've already voted. There's no matching funds, correct? We're not, nothing is, it's all grant money.
Correct.
Yeah, that's what I understood. Okay.
Yep, nice. Any more correspondence there? Just Joel on that one?
Just hold on that one.
Okay. Joyce.
First, I want to introduce Jamie Franklin from the Bennington Museum. He's Director of Exhibits and Collections and is able-bodied assistant over there. And sorry. The Historical Society and Vermont Folklife Center is partnering with the museum on a project. And I really want to turn it over to Jamie because the Bennington Museum is the group that is actually applying for this grant with our support. Okay, so I want him to actually present it. Okay.
Thank you. Well, I'll try to make it quick, but lay out everything that you guys might need to know to make any sort of decision. So the Bennington Museum, as Joyce said, has reached out.
Jamie, can you, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but people are saying they can't hear you. Could you come up to the table closer to the microphone? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Perfect, thank you.
Not a problem. So the Bennington Museum has reached out to collaborate with the Pownell Historical Society to apply for a grant to erect a historic marker. And we're hoping to apply to the Pomeroy Foundation, which is a national organization that funds historic markers. They particularly fund all of the New York State markers. The state actually doesn't fund historic markers over in New York State. So the signs like you see here in Vermont, which are green with gold lettering that describe various historic places, events, people. And the program that we're applying for is a Legends and Lores program. And so I'm working on an exhibition at the museum for next summer and fall called Haunted Vermont. which looks at stories of ghosts, goblins, and other kind of the unknown that happened here in Vermont, particularly southwestern Vermont. And two of the stories that I'm going to be telling in that exhibition relate to the Manchester vampire and the Pownell witch trial. The Manchester Historical Society has already applied for and been awarded a grant from the Pomeroy Foundation to set up a sign for the Manchester vampire. I won't go into that story, but somebody who was already dead was accused of being a vampire. They dug up their remains and they erected a sign over next to the cemetery there in Manchester to commemorate this historic event. The Krieger witch trial is believed to be the only recorded witch trial to occur here in Vermont. It happened, we believe, right on the Hoosick River, not far from Strobridge, where Strobridge Park is now, where the Krieger family lived. So Widow Krieger, who was the accused, was the widow of Jurius Krieger, which was one of the original Dutch settlers here in Pownell. He arrived in 1730, married his wife Margaret in the 1740s, and he passed away in 1785, and sometime between 1785 and 1790, when she passed away, she was accused of being a witch. We don't know all of the details. They're recorded in a couple of histories that were written in the late 19th and early 20th century by Pownell historians. But working with Joyce, we've kind of tracked down all the facts related to who Margaret is. They don't even use her first name and when it happened, and the basic kind of parameters of what, who, what, where, when, and how. And so we're hoping to apply for this grant to erect a historical marker to the Krieger witch trial. And in working with Joyce and the Pownell Historical Society, the Strobridge Park, because it is right next to where the Kriegers lived, you can see Krieger Rock, you can see the Hoosick River, which is right there, which is where Widow Krieger, Margaret Krieger, is believed to have been dunked in the ice, which was part of determining whether she was a witch. Either if she sank, she wasn't a witch. If she floated, she was a witch. She sank. They were able to pull her back out and save her. We thought that this was an intriguing part of Pownell history that people don't know a lot about. You already have a historic sign up there. I'm telling the story of Addie Card, who was the girl that Lewis Hines photographed that worked there in the mills. This was another piece of history dating back to the 18th century. It might help draw interest in local history, both from locals and possibly people coming through and visiting the park, enjoying the park, learning about the local history. And so we basically pulled together all this information. We're planning to apply to the Pomeroy Foundation. The application is due on October 17th, so a little less than a month from now. And basically the only thing that we need at this point is a letter of permission from the landowners on the site that we want to erect the sign. So I've already mentioned Strobridge Park. I created this little mock-up which depicts the sign as it would look. This is actually the Manchester sign as it was erected, and I photoshopped it. We went and visited the park last week. This is basically a view from if you were stopped as the train was crossing, looking across over to Strobridge Park, what the sign would look like in the basic place that we thought would look best. So I'm happy to pass that around for you to take a look at it. And basically at this point, in order for us to apply, the only thing we need now is a letter of permission from the landowners, which in this case, of course, would be the town of Pownell.
No cost to the town, is that correct? It's just no cost to the town. You just need permission.
No. So the grant is, I don't remember the exact amount, but it's something like between $1,300 and $1,400. That basically just pays for the actual marker and the pole, which they will then send to us. And the only thing that we would need from the town beyond the permission is once we get the grant, assuming that we do get the grant, is we would need assistance actually sticking the pole in the ground. So I don't know exactly how that works around here, but once we get to that point, we can talk in more detail about it. But at this point, really all we're seeking is a letter of permission from the town so that we can move forward with the grant application.
What's the size of your sign?
I don't have the exact dimensions. I did pull up, I turned off my phone so it wouldn't ring during the middle of the meeting. It's, if you're familiar with the historic markers, that, I'm going to guesstimate, I don't have the exact numbers, but something like 30 inches wide by, 24 inches tall. It might be a little bit larger than that, but if you're familiar with those metal historic markers, that's the basic size. So, and I did scale it approximately so you could get a general sense of the scale here. It's smaller than the sign that already exists there for Addie Card.
Manchester sign,
Exactly, to give you a little bit more context.
in person.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have a person there for scale, but it's not huge. It's a pretty manageable size sign.
What kind of maintenance is required, or is there any maintenance required for the sign after it's placed in there?
It's an excellent question. The Pomeroy Foundation, they do the grant. They don't have you have to maintain it. I mean, I think, we just actually went through a process at the museum through the state. We're one of the historic markers, which is on our property. And the state took care of that for us. I would assume at some point, but it's a painted metal sign where they put the kind of bake the finish on. It would probably be years and years before a sign like this needed to be repainted or anything like that. So it's certainly not going to be an onerous thing to maintain. And I think it would be something where, if that point came up, I think there could be a conversation between the museum, the Historical Society, and the town. And if any monies needed to be raised, I'm sure we would be willing and able partners to help make that happen.
Anybody else have any questions or comments? Bob?
No, just, I guess we don't really have a good feel for what it's gonna cost to implant it in the ground, but it doesn't sound like it's a lot. It's a sign, or, well, it's more than a sign, right? It's
just a sign on a metal pole. It's literally digging a hole in the ground, sticking it in, concreting, or however your team would feel best about putting a sign in so that it's safe and permanent and isn't going to go anywhere.
It was a pretty cool story.
It is a very cool story, and I think it's one of the reasons why it attracted me to it, and wanted to be able to collaborate, because it's a story that I don't know that a lot of people here in Pownell know about, and it's every time I tell it, people's ears perk up and get really interested. So I thought it's the sort of thing that could just get people interested in local history. I mean, it helps tell the story of the founding of Pownell and the early settlers of Pownell, the Dutch settlers, and it's just enough of a twist and enough interest to really get people kind of intrigued.
Any more questions or comments? What's your pleasure?
Oh, I just wanted to when you talk about history, Mr. Krieger was one of the first Dutch that came. He was one of the very first Dutch squatters that came to town. And when we became Pownell, the proprietors, because he built a mill and improved the property that they called squatters, he was on, they actually gave him the land. So he really was kind of prestigious Dutchman that got here, okay? And then further down, Williamstown, when they became interested in mills, offered Mr. Krieger's sons land down there to put mills. So they actually began the mill process in Williamstown, be it a sawmill and of course a grist mill, that type of thing. So Krieger did a lot for the town. He just wasn't somebody that was a flash in the pan. He really worked hard for us. Until he died and his wife became a witch.
That's where he got all the success.
That's right. It was done.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
I'll second.
We're making a motion to approve
So approve the letter and
Letter,
support.
yeah.
Okay. Just want to be clear.
Thank you.
Any more discussion or questions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
I
Mike, aye. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And if I don't know, Joyce can work with you just to get the letter to us, in time. You have a couple of weeks, so just you can reach out to me or Joyce, and take care of that. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank you for coming down.
Yep.
thank you.
ARPA hazard pay. Good night, Joyce.
Good night. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure I give you the right spreadsheet here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oops. Okay, so
back when I first started working, I think it was March, April, you all approved the 75 cents per hour work during the 3/1/2020 through 2/28/22 time period. So when I ran those reports, there were just a couple of little things that came up that I need further approval on before approving the entire thing. So the first being, I assumed all salary people at 40 hours a week. The second being the stipend employees, because they are not hourly and they're given a stipend every month. I spoke with Rebecca and we figured out the most legitimate way, or the best way we thought, was to figure out what percentage 75 cents is of your average pay in the town. So I took 28 employees that were paid during that time. I found the average pay, which was $16.90. 75 cents of that is 4.45%. So then I took the stipends and calculated what 4.45% of that stipend would be, and then gave that per month that their stipend would have been paid. Or as you can see the breakdown on here. Like our emergency coordinator, he's paid one sum for the year, so I did a percentage on that sum. Or someone like our E911 coordinator, she does that, but she also does some assistant clerk pieces. So you can see the math and how it works out. I guess I would be looking for approval on assuming salary people are 40 hours per week and the stipend calculation as I stated.
So this is,
And they're all employees, whether they are currently working for us or not.
that was my question. I just want everyone to understand that too, that these are and were.
Working at
Were
that
and
time.
are
Yes,
employees that were working through that COVID
That-
period, whether they still are here or not.
that's correct.
Okay,
Regardless of reasons left or anything like that, it's everyone.
no, that's fine. I know we had discussed that, you and I discussed that a little bit, so.
But going back into the minutes in the way it was approved, it definitely said all eligible employees that worked during that time, so that's okay.
Okay. Any questions for Tara?
I don't have any.
Well,
Nobody
thanks
has?
for doing that, Tara. Thanks for laying that all out and doing all those calculations on it.
Well, yeah,
Oh,
I'm extremely
I'm
impressed.
comfortable with it.
I'm extremely impressed in the way you worked this out, to be perfectly honest with you, because this is a lot of work and there's a lot of thought that went into this, okay? I mean, I know you and I discussed this some, but this is a lot of work and it's there's a huge thought process in this.
And I know our employees are really looking forward to it. They're really,
Yeah, yeah.
been waiting and I don't want to keep them waiting any longer, so.
And we have received that second wave of money, so that was the holdup, and we just received that a couple of weeks ago, correct?
Yep.
Okay.
And we have the money to cover this whole sum.
Yes.
Any more questions? Comments?
Please don't forget in your approval to include my little stipend piece in my 40-hour salary.
I'll entertain a motion to approve this based on the 40 hours per week and the $16.90, is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
$16.90 per hour average?
And you can say that the stipend calculations as explained is probably good way to put it.
Yep, okay, that's probably better. I'll entertain a motion to approve this as the stipend calculations were presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any more discussion or questions? All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. I'd like to say that, I really appreciate everyone who worked through COVID, whether they're here or whether they're not here anymore for whatever reason. We, in my opinion, we ran a pretty, we weren't shut down very much through the whole period. I mean,
We weren't shut down at all because the girls,
well, there was a couple of times when when the, you know, but not an extended period of time. And we ran business as usual for the most part through the whole process. And I'd like to say that, for one, I'm really proud of everyone who was involved in that. Whether they're still here or not, and, you know, right from everyone on this sheet. I'm really happy that we can do this. Just my opinion. Perfect. New town hall budget.
did we approve it? I know there was a motion on the
I
table.
went around, didn't I? Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, you're okay. No, thanks for checking. We did.
It has been one of those days.
No, I went around. Then I made my comment after.
Did you have that now?
All right, so the new town hall budget stuff that we were talking about is in the archive on the website if anybody wants to view it. I will state that it looks different from the first meeting that we had, because of the way the funds came in or didn't come in, and the way that things were spent over so many years. It's really hard to call it phase one and phase two and show where the money went when, and it gets really confusing. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is the overall budget. It sort of lists, what was spent where, in what year. It lists all of the funds that we've brought in so far, and what is remaining. So right now with what has been spent, $1,186,095.97. We have $38,188.84 left out of these amounts that were here at the top. However, of course, as you know, the project is not done. So I took the estimates that we had before, that we sat with on June 1st, and I sat with Eric and we went over all of the costs again. And there were some things that were missing when we met, like the railings. We didn't have a railing quote. The windows you guys chose that night, so those weren't included in the estimate. And things like carpenter labor were underestimated because I think we had a little confusion and we were estimating just to get the schoolhouse over here and get where we're at and not complete the project. So that's why you'll definitely see that this projected estimated cost is higher than the one we discussed on June 1st.
And the estimated, just so everyone's clear I'm clear, but just so everyone's clear on, if they're looking at it, the estimated total cost in the first column is what it's estimated right now to finish.
Well, they were original estimates or estimates that we got before any work was done.
Oh, okay, I see what you did. Okay,
Right.
sorry, I
So then-
misspoke.
So then the next column is actual costs that we've spent to date. But that might not, so the estimated, it's a lot of times they're coming in higher. It ends up being higher. For example, the site work, we estimated 32,000, but it actually ended up being $50,883. So that final column, the real cost is the most accurate I can get right now, what it's gonna cost to finish the project. So when you take that figure minus what we've spent so far in the second column, you get $136,274 that we are still looking to cover with ARPA funds, because I had said this before, I will not ask taxpayers to pay any more money, and I really want to cap what we're using from ARPA too, so we can save whatever we can to offer for other needs in the town, other than this town hall.
No, you're right, and I totally agree with you. Totally agree with what you're saying. So it's a 136,274 difference.
Yep, minus.
Real cost estimated,
Yep.
right?
And we have the
Or
38 remaining.
real cost to actual.
Yep,
And we have 38,000 remaining,
yep.
which brings us down to 98,000, give or take.
Right.
Okay,
So I was gonna suggest possibly approving up to like 110, and that's it, out of the ARPA to get the project done. But I also need to point out that I did not include the 25,000 from the Pownell Historical Society in these figures because we haven't gotten that, or we're not doing that yet. And the carpenter labor quote that we have does not include finishing the basement to the way that they would like, or even including flooring. It is to get it basically so that we can get our certificate of occupancy, but not finished out and painted and that sort of stuff. It'll be sheetrocked and fire taped and no flooring. So if we wanted to add that in, that will change that figure a little bit, but we're still sort of working with the Pownell Historical Society on that stuff, so that's why it's still.
that's fine.
Beyond
I
that
think
part.
I think that was a great approach. Given where we're at. I think that's an awesome approach, actually. So. Do you guys have any questions on the budget before we move on and any part of this?
I didn't see that in the packet. Can I get that emailed to me?
I do.
And it doesn't have to be right now.
I know. Why not? I can.
How much ARPA money is remaining? That's due to come to us.
So we're like 184, I believe. You mean what's remaining after we spend out this and?
No, what's remaining that we were supposed to receive, that we haven't received?
Like a quarter of it, but it should be coming anytime. So we got the first round, which was two separate payments. It was like a 177 and a 184, one's county and one's federal. The same thing will happen this time. So we got the federal one, we're just waiting on county.
Okay.
So if we were to, and I'm not gonna hold you to the number, if we were to cap this at $110,000 of remaining ARPA money, what's a ballpark number of the ARPA money that we would have left available for other projects? Is that on here?
It's not,
I didn't see it.
not because.
Did you
we're waiting
just
for
say
that.
84 or did I misunderstand you?
No, you misunderstood.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
325, RC 184. Do some quick math.
That's fine, take your time. I don't mean to put you on the spot, I'm just curious. I think it'll help make my decision on where we cap or what we do or whatever, so.
We'll just call it roughly 700,000 that we've sort of allocated to other things. If you do the 110, which leaves 350,000.
Left
Around there?
over.
Yep.
That we would have to spend on other projects. Okay. Okay. That's kind of what I had. I was a little
I was
bit,
just gonna ask you, have we had any requests?
We have, so I wanted to get this stuff finalized and then come to the board with, sort of a discussion on how we want that process to work. People requesting funds,
Okay.
or agencies or businesses or whatever.
I was a little bit, with the numbers that we got initially, I was a little bit light. That's a little bit more than I thought we would have left, which is good in my head. But I wasn't too far off. Okay. Any more questions? Any concerns on this? I think right now, the only thing that I would, like to see done, is not just the fire tape, but to prime, I'm not saying finish paint the downstairs portion, but I'd like to see it if it's not primed, at least ready for primer.
Okay.
That would be my concern, so that if someone were to come in and use it, they could paint it without any more work. They could come right in and,
Okay.
so whether we,
What about the floor? What about the floor?
I'm not gonna worry about the floor.
Okay,
That's,
all right.
you know, that can be someone else's. I think that we talked about that, we can put the parameters on. I just, in my opinion, I think if we had it, primed or ready for primer, however the board feels, that's just my opinion, and you guys can shoot it down. Don't be afraid to shoot it down. I just, in my opinion, ready for paint or, you know, either way. And other than that, I agree with the 110. I think that's a great number to lock in. I think I'm comfortable with that, given what we have here and given where we're at with the project. And Eric and Aaron have been, for the most part, spot on with everything that we've been doing here. So I'm very comfortable with that.
So you want a motion?
Yeah, I'll entertain a motion to, lock our ARPA funding into the new town office at 110. From here on out.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any discussion, any questions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Thank you, Tara.
Thank
Once
you,
again,
Tara. You did a tremendous amount of work.
once again, a lot of work on this
And stop
project.
stressing.
Really stressed.
I
I don't
know.
like these numbers and it's,
I don't think
I
any
live
of
in
us,
town too.
I know.
I don't
You
think
all
any
live
of
in town. We're all,
any of us like the numbers,
Get this.
but at the end of the day,
we gotta get this finished
we
and
have
done and move
we
forward.
have to move forward.
Absolutely.
You're behind us.
We're almost there.
We can see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Very proud when we're done.
I'm very proud now.
Yes, extremely.
I'm proud of the direction.
Word is relieved.
There you go, relieved.
I'm fairly proud. I'm extremely proud, actually, of the way the direction we're headed in. So it's fine. Emergency radio.
So we put out the RFP. We didn't get any responses, unfortunately, but Hannah and I had done research before and got a couple of estimates. So that's what we have to go with. Aircom came in at 3102.69. Procom came in at 2685.
Did you reach out and make sure those estimates are still good?
Yeah, they're pretty recent.
Okay.
Is there can I look at those?
Yes, will you please, because I don't know enough about them to tell you if they're different.
And that's for everything to be installed at the town.
Yep.
And it connects with the
The road.
road crew and all that, correct?
So Bearcom has basically an itemized out list of different components. Do you know if the components are the same? You don't know because Procom didn't list out.
What we can do is I can reach.
I was gonna say, could you reach out to them and ask them to itemize it?
And we can compare apples to apples instead of,
Because right now, you know, I'm seeing a desktop microphone on Bearcom's proposal. They don't itemize it out over here.
Right, so you don't know if
I don't know if it's exactly the same. you know, for the most part, the radio is a radio.
The antenna is probably the same.
The antennas, they all have to be the same. The coax cable has to be the same, blah, blah, blah. Power supply is a power supply. Grounding is grounding.
Right.
An antenna is an antenna. It's just a different, you know, they're giving us exactly what they're giving us exactly what they're doing for the mast. And most of this stuff is not a huge amount of money. I'm trying to see the radio difference, price difference between the two is, $150. See if they're just giving you a standard microphone that's on here for $10, where the desktop is $130. So just little things. I did this for a while. I priced a whole lot of radios over the years.
So I can, ask Hannah to reach back out to them and get an itemized list from Procom and then.
So what's the price difference, Mike? I don't remember what she said.
$26.85 for Procom and $31.02 for Bearcom, so less than $500.
$500, yeah.
Yeah, $430, I guess.
I think I want to say Procom is the that Joel uses for the trucks, and Bearcom was the one that Craig recommended.
That was gonna be my next question. You beat me to it. Which that says something in itself.
Right.
Here's this one, sorry. We're looking at this more. Are we looking at more for our road crew? Or are we looking at more for emergency services? That's a question that I think we need to answer. Not, I wasn't pointing at you. Sorry, I was looking at you, but
I get it.
I think that's a question that we as a board need to say. And given that, Procom, the road crew is, they're gonna be able to pair up, not that the other guys can't, but my history with this tells me that Procom is already servicing our trucks. And our base, you know, over at the town garage, where Bearcom's not. So,
And the radio's used mostly for the town, correct? Not emergency, right?
Right.
I would think that, I'm sure Craig and the fire departments have their built-in backup systems. This, to me, would probably be more of if we have some sort of an emergency where we're using our road crew and somebody has to come in, you or me or whatever, Brian, whoever has to come in and try to help out and coordinate from here, would be with our road crew. That's just my thing. Can we compare apples to apples? And then I'm, because they're so close, I don't think it's a huge deal one way or the other. And I think they're both reputable companies. I mean, Joel hasn't said anything bad about Procom, so I've dealt specifically with Bearcom for my buses and stuff too, so. Well, it used to be Wells, but I've dealt specifically with them, so. I'd like to compare apples to apples and bring it back at the next meeting. Sorry, I don't mean to give you guys more work, but.
Fine.
I mean, that's just sending in an email or making a phone call, right?
Yeah, Tara doesn't mind, she'll be delegated.
Yeah.
Can you take care of that, please, for us?
Perfect.
you.
Does anybody want to just move on with it, or are you guys comfortable with doing
No, I'm
that?
comfortable with getting,
Okay,
it should be itemized anyways. You
Yeah.
know what you're getting.
I should have picked up on that.
that's fine. That's what we're for.
Next meeting.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to enter into executive session for contractual, please.
So moved.
Seconded.
Any questions? All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye, and there may be action taken.
Make a motion to come out of executive session.
Seconded.
All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob, Mike, aye. We're not gonna take any action at this time. We need to do, a little more research on our part. And then we'll take action. Any public comment?
See anybody's hands raised?
Nobody has their hand raised, Sam?
No.
Perfect. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded.
All those in favor, Angie,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.
Bye, Bob.
Thanks, Bob. Have a good night.
Night.